Unfortunately, that's the only answer I felt good about, so it could be downhill from here.
Welcome to Experience Points, presented by our friends at Avtex, who transform customer experience through CX design and orchestration. On Experience Points, contestants earn points by answering customer experience questions and share their insight on how to make your interactions remarkable. Those points turn into dollars for the charity of their choosing. I'm Dan Gingiss.
And I'm Joey Coleman, and we'd love to introduce you to today's contestant. She's the Chief Experience Officer at Experience.com. She's an international keynote speaker and award-winning business leader. And in 2015, she was offered deals from 4 of the 5 sharks on ABC's Shark Tank. Friends, welcome to Experience Points, Brittany Hodak.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Dan and Joey. This is very, very exciting.
Well, we're not only thrilled to have you, but I want to know, what was that 5th shark thinking, for crying out loud? I mean, clearly that one was not the smartest one of the bunch. But tell us about being on Shark Tank and something that you learned as a result that you think would be useful to our viewers and listeners.
One thing that I would say I've learned for people to keep in mind is anytime you do something that's going to be high visibility, don't just think about the immediate aftermath, like what you need to do to be prepared for that first airing, but think about the fact that now this is going to be part of like the canon of, you know, your business or your brand, and you want to make sure that you're prepared for the people who are going to be coming to you. And you know, it's not through any fault of their own that they're maybe like 7 or 8 or into the future, maybe a decade plus years behind on what's going on. So make sure that you've got a really easy, frictionless way of catching them up without making them think that they've like missed out on some great thing between then and now.
Oh, Brittany, I love it. You know, it's not surprising that a customer experience professional like you is always thinking about the lifetime value of those interactions. Absolutely brilliant. You know, you're going to be playing for a very special organization today. Could you tell us a little bit about that organization and why you've decided to play for them?
Absolutely. So I'm playing today for Toys for Tots, which is my very favorite charity. Toys for Tots is the U.S. Marine Corps' charity to make sure that every child in every community across the United States is inspired and feels a sense of hope and joy because they wake up to a brand new toy on Christmas morning.
So now that we know that you're going to be playing for Toys for Tots, let's get into the game. Today we're going to be playing a game called Think Fast.
In Think Fast, you will have 1 minute to answer 5 experience questions. For each question, you must quickly choose between 2 possible answers. Correct answers given before time runs out are worth 100 points. 5 correct answers will earn you 500 bonus points for a possible score of 1,000 points.
Wish you the best of luck. Are you ready to get started?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
So for today's Think Fast, we're going to be talking about the 2020 QSR drive-thru study. Yes, QSR stands for Quick Serve Restaurant, and this is a study about the experiences that happen at the drive-thru. Brittany, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
And here we go. Which fast food restaurant received the highest overall experience score, placing first in 6 of 7 categories? Was it Chick-fil-A or Panera Bread?
I'm going to go with Chick-fil-A.
Whose menu quality reigns supreme, McDonald's or Wendy's?
Wendy's.
Which ice cream restaurant has the faster service, Dairy Queen or Culver's?
Dairy Queen.
Which coffee company has higher order accuracy, Dunkin' or Starbucks?
Starbucks.
And what was the highest order accuracy score recorded? Was it 95% or 99%?
I'm going to go with 95.
Wow, that was fast. Let's see how you did, Brittany. The first question was, which fast food restaurant received the highest overall experience score, placing first in 6 of 7 categories? Was it Chick-fil-A or Panera Bread? You said Chick-fil-A, and that was the correct answer. Great job. 1 for 1.
Yay! Unfortunately, that's the only answer I felt good about, so it could be downhill from here.
Well, I for one, Brittany, am feeling good about a number of your answers. And I wrote the question, so you should feel fairly confident about that.
Okay, good.
Whose menu quality reigns supreme? You said Wendy's. Clearly, Wendy's is the right answer. Great job. 2 for 2. Then we asked you which ice cream restaurant has the faster service. You said Dairy Queen. It was Culver's, unfortunately. So close. You had a 50-50 shot on that one. I'll be honest with you, I'm a DQ fan myself, so I would have chosen DQ as well. Then we asked you which coffee company has higher accuracy. You said Starbucks. Let's get it back in the win column. Starbucks is correct. Finally, we said, what was the highest order accuracy score? You correctly figured out this was a bit of a trick question. No one can be 99%, but 95 was the highest. And great job there. So awesome work, Brittany.
Brittany, you did a fantastic job on Think Fast. Let's talk a little bit about this because some of our viewers and some of our listeners may be thinking, friends, what does a quick service restaurant have to do with my business? I don't operate a drive-through. How could I take this game and apply it to my day-to-day operations? But the reality is there are many aspects of customer experience that your customers will judge you on, even in a drive-through. And interestingly enough, in this research, they had 7 different components that they were looking at, including something like the speed of service. Could you speak a little bit as to how in this day and age, speed of service really matters when creating a remarkable customer experience?
Yeah, well, speed of service is important regardless of the industry you're in because very few customers want something later, right? We live in a now world, and it's interesting that we started with Chick-fil-A at the beginning because they do such a great job. As you said, they ranked top in 6 out of the 7, and anyone who's ever been through a Chick-fil-A drive-thru knows this. Everybody probably remembers the memes from the end of last year saying, give the vaccine program to the people who run the Chick-fil-A drive-thrus. They'll figure it out. They'll get everyone vaccinated immediately because they have it down to a science. And I also, another example I love from Chick-fil-A drive-thru is a viral tweet from a few years ago where somebody said they were in the drive-thru line at Chick-fil-A. They were crying, and the Chick-fil-A drive-thru person said, do you want chocolate or vanilla ice cream? And she said, no, I ordered a Dr. Pepper. And the girl said, you clearly need ice cream. Do you want chocolate or vanilla? And gave this woman a milkshake and completely turned her day around. And it was because, the person had taken the time to see the woman was upset, and empowering your employees to do little things like that can take what seems like, of an experience that doesn't matter, right? Seems like an afterthought, and really turn it into something that can affect your customer's day in a positive way. I am a huge proponent that every single interaction that you ever have with another human on the planet, whether it's in real life or virtual or over an email or a text exchange, anytime there's an exchange of energy between you and one or more other people, that experience for the person on the other side of it is going to be one of 3 things. It's going to be a net negative, a net positive, or a net neutral, meaning they're going to leave that interaction feeling better, worse, or exactly the same. So to the extent that you can focus on turning every interaction that you have into a net positive, you are putting so many wonderful ripples out into the universe. You're quite literally making the world a better place, one experience at a time. And drive-thrus are a great example of how you can have someone in the scenario to do that. And, it's easy to think like, oh, it's just somebody working the drive-thru, but think about how stressful it must be to work a drive-thru, right? Like I always have such empathy for people doing that because I know I would be way too frazzled. You've got they're trying to listen to the headsets, they're punching buttons, they're delivering food. I am shocked that there was a 95% accuracy because I promise you I could never be 95% accurate at that job. So, creating an environment to where it's not just about being accurate and delivering the food, but also leaving the person in the car with a little bit better feeling than they had when they started is a great way to focus on those net positives.
Brittany, I want to comment on 2 things. First of all, when I worked for McDonald's corporate, I actually had the opportunity to spend a couple of days in a restaurant. And I did work in the drive-thru, and it is really hard and stressful. So it definitely gave me some appreciation for it. But the other thing I wanted to comment on was this idea that every potential interaction has some opportunity. I definitely think that's true in customer experience. It's also true in real life. And, my teenage daughter sometimes criticizes me for this, that I tend to be a friendly person even to strangers. And she's like, "Oh, Dad, don't do that." And I was in Costco the other day, and there was this woman who was pitching the Costco brand facial tissue. And she was yelling her speech over and over again. "They're on sale. They're so much better than the name brand. You owe it to your nose, blah, blah, blah." And I, not only did I buy some, but I noticed that everyone that was walking by was buying them. So I walked up to her. Thank goodness my daughter wasn't there. She would have been mortified. And I said, "Boy, I should hire you to do sales for my business. You're fantastic at this." Well, P.S., this woman was only working at Costco part-time because she's actually, are you ready for this? A customer service speaker. And so we connected and we got onto a Zoom call, and now we're trying to help each other out because we're in the same industry. So amazing. And I talked to the tissue woman, but ended up making a great new content.
Dan, we've had a great conversation here, but let's recap how Brittany did playing Think Fast.
Well, Joey, as you know, correct answers in Think Fast are worth 100 points each, and Brittany answered 4 questions correctly, which means she earned 400 points. Now, our good friends at Avtex are going to convert those points into dollars, so Brittany has earned an additional $400 donation to Toys for Tots. Congratulations, Brittany, and thanks for playing.
Thank you, and thank you, Avtex. It is incredible that you're making these donations, and I really appreciate it, and you're going to spread a lot of joy to a lot of children a few months from now on Dan's birthday.
Well, that concludes this episode of Experience Points. Check out more games with Brittany and our other celebrity contestants at experiencepointsgame.com. That's experiencepointsgame.com. We'll see you soon for more examples of remarkable customer experiences here at Experience Points, presented by Avtex.
Anytime you talk about customer experience, in the conference speaking that we do, someone will always bring up Chick-fil-A. It's bound to happen.
It's not just about how delicious and tasty the food is. I mean, they've created an experience at the drive-thru that everybody knows what it's like to go to a Chick-fil-A, and you're not concerned that the line's long. You're not concerned at, the amount of people running around the parking lot, because you know that they've got it down and they understand what it takes to move people through that line at that clip. And what's interesting to me is they talked about speed, but one of the nuances that I picked up on around the survey is that there were 7 different measurements that defined, the best drive-through experience here. And so, they dominated 6 of them. And so they're not just focused on the operational metrics of, quality or speed. They're thinking about it more holistically to craft an experience through a drive-through, so that when somebody says, "Oh, you want to go to Chick-fil-A?" that none of the other people are like, "Oh, I don't want to sit in that line," right? Like they're like, yeah, they're excited about it because they know that the product is going to equal what they're going to get as a part of the delivery.